Hello there and welcome back to my channel, or if this is the first video of mine you are seeing, then welcome. So I did get a request from one of you lovelies asking if I would do a video on my favorite bronzers. So I'm just going to be specifically talking about my cream bronzers, and we're going to rank them from my least favorite all the way to my favorite. Now, there's only one in this lineup that I would say is a true no, and the rest of them would really honestly depend on your preference. So what I'm going to be doing is, while I'm talking about each bronzer, I'm going to show some B-roll footage of me applying all of them so you can see them on my skin, but I am also going to be swatching them on the back of my hands so you can see them in comparison to each other in case you were interested or curious about how they looked all swatched out next to each other. So let's start with my 10th place cream bronzer. And this pains me. This is one of my most top favorite brands ever, and it pains me that I have to say this is the 10th place. But this is from Tower 28. This is the Bronzino, not the Sculptino, the Bronzino in the shade Suncoast. That is what this looks like right here. Very glowy, looks like it would be right up my alley, right? But as you are going to be seeing in that demo that I am showing you, well, I can't even speak. As you are going to be seeing in the demo when I am applying this, you will kind of see what I mean, and I'm going to show you a swatch, of course, here as well. Okay, so here you can see the swatch of this. Now, yeah, when you look at it like in this light, like when I turn my hand right here, it looks like a beautiful light bronzer. However, this to me is not a cream bronzer. I feel like this is definitely much more of a highlighter, like a gold bronzy-ish highlighter than it is an actual bronzer. It just, I don't know, maybe it is this shade. I cannot obviously speak for the deeper shades in this range. Now, this is a product that you can only buy from the actual Tower 28 website. I don't think you can still buy this at Sephora, which I find what's so interesting about this product is I believe at one point they had discontinued this, but I think it was a fitness influencer. I could be wrong about that. I'm not too familiar with the fitness influencers, but I don't think they were like a beauty, like doing content creation for beauty stuff. I think it was more fitness. She mentioned how she loved the Bronzino and they brought it back. Now, I don't know, maybe the deeper shades would look less highlighter-y, but this shade, it's a straight up highlighter. Now, if you are someone that you don't mind the extra step and you put down maybe a more like natural finish, or even, well, I was going to say like matte cream bronzer, but you know, maybe a bronzer that dries down a little bit, not so glowy, then you might want to apply this over the top if that's kind of what you're into. I just don't personally want to do that. I want it to be a bronzer all on its own. So for that reason, I am giving it the 10th place. I just don't think it stands out to me at all. I mean, maybe it would make a pretty like eyeshadow. I mean, I know it would probably really crease very badly on the eyes, but maybe as an eyeshadow it'd be pretty. But in my opinion, at least this shade, a cream bronzer, it is not. Okay, in 9th place, this one might be an unpopular opinion for a lot of people because I know in the past, I don't know about so much now, but I know this used to be in a lot of people's favorites. And it is not a bad product by any means. This is from Milani. This is their Cheek Kiss cream bronzer, and this one is in the shade Hey Honey. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad bronzer by any means. The only one out of these 10 cream bronzers I'm talking about that is a straight up no, in my opinion, is the one I just mentioned, the Bronzino. This one, there is nothing wrong with it, but here you can see it right here, swatched out. This is more of a preference thing for me. The reason why it is in 9th place. To me, this is a little bit more of a thicker balm. It is not balm-y. Okay, it's a balm, but it's more of a thicker one, if that makes sense. And I don't know. At one point, I did really like it, but I think the more cream bronzers I try, I just have a type. I have a type. I like the very lightweight, balmy, more natural-ish type bronzers. This one is such a thick formula and you have to be so careful with it. Now, at least I do, and this is the lightest shade here. I kind of struggle with this one a little bit, like with blending it out, and as you saw in the demo, I did over apply it. I did, but that's where this is kind of a preference thing for me. Some of the other bronzers that I'm going to talk about in this video, they don't do that. they're not too much too soon to where I have to panic blend. I would much rather build a bronzer up than it go in way too pigmented and then I have trouble blending it out. Now, if you apply this with a light hand, it's pretty on the skin. It's just a preference thing. I just feel like this builds up a little bit. It's just instant, and I prefer to build my bronzers up because I can sometimes be heavy-handed, and I'm at the point now where I do not want to fuss with makeup. I don't want to fuss with it. I don't want to be careful with it. If it's to the point where I have to be that careful with a product, I don't want it in my collection. And I just feel like this is just a little bit too much for me and what I like. I'm very much into the very light, layers, that kind of thing, and I feel like this is just a little bit of a thicker cream bronzer. Now, if you are the opposite of me and you are looking for instant pigment, I think you would love this bronzer. It just depends on your preference. It really does. I don't think it's a bad bronzer by any means, but it is in my 9th place just simply out of preference. The next one is technically a contour, but on my skin tone, it does look more of like a neutral bronzer, so I am going to consider it a cream bronzer for the sake of this video. And this is another one that this is not a bad product. The only reason it is in this particular spot in 8th place is because of the type of bronzer. This is from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the Halftone Smooth Blur Contour, and this one is in the shade, no, Halftone is the shade, excuse me. Okay, no, the name of this is Smooth Blur Contour, and the shade is Halftone. And it's just like a stick product here, and oops. And this is a very lovely tone, and even though it is technically marketed as a contour, it is not too overly gray, at least not on me. Now, if you are looking for more of a gray, I don't know, I guess it would really depend on your undertone. If you have a very warm undertone like I do, I feel like most of these types of products, they end up looking more of like the neutral, kind of like in the middle, not too warm, but definitely not what I would call cool tone. I'm personally fine with that. I am not a big fan of contours. I like contours that actually do end up looking like bronzers. But I can understand the frustration of somebody who is looking for a true cool tone and then it ends up being neutral or warm. But that is what this one looks like right here. And you can see compared to them, it is not as warm, but on me, it does pull like in the middle. It's not cool tone, but it's not like straight up warm. But it is a beautiful product, and the reason why it is in 8th is because it is a stick cream bronzer. I'm not really into that format right now. I am much preferring the compacts, the ones you can just dip the brush in and go. This right now, the stick bronzers, while I like the convenience of them, just swipe it on and go, I don't know, it's just not my preferred style, like product style. I much prefer the ones in the compacts like I mentioned. So that is the only reason this one is in 8th position, because of that. Now, as far as the formula and everything, it's beautiful. I have no issues with it whatsoever with longevity or anything like that. Do keep in mind that I am not putting my makeup to extreme test. I am, for the most part, in temperature controlled environment for the most of the day, like think home or office, that kind of stuff. I am not really out and about a lot. None of these fade on me. They all last very well, but I am not always out in the heat and sweating and all of that. So keep that in mind as well. But it's only an 8th because it is a stick cream bronzer and I just prefer the compacts now. And the same thing can be said in my 7th place bronzer here. This one is from Westman Atelier. This is also a contour, but I'm going to call it a bronzer for the sake of the video. This is the Face Trace Contour Stick, and this one is in the shade Olay. This has this really beautiful black packaging, and let's slide this right here. And this is another one with just like the ABH one. This is a beautiful formula. I do think it stands out just a touch above the ABH one only because of just the smoothness of it. That's not me saying that the ABH one is not a smooth application, but there's something about this one that just the way it glides on the skin, the way it blends out so evenly with the brush, it builds up very evenly. I just want to give it that kind of credit a little bit, just a little touch more than the ABH one. And that is this one right here, all swatched out. And you can see that this one definitely is like a neutral, but does lean a little bit more towards the warm side. More so, I should say, on my undertone. I do have a very warm undertone, so do keep that in mind. But it is a beautiful, beautiful shade. Kind of like right there in the middle. Doesn't lean too warm where I worry about it being orange, but it doesn't go too cool to where I'd be worried personally about it being too gray. I'm not a fan of the gray undertones for me. I always feel like, and it is probably a skill level as well, I just don't like the gray undertone stuff on me. I guess with my warm undertone, I just don't really like it. I much prefer neutral toned bronzers or more on the warm side. Like when I say warm, I definitely don't mean orange. I think you all know what I mean. But this is a beautiful, beautiful product, and it's only in 7th place because it is another stick format. I just prefer the bronzers that are in the compacts. That's the only reason this one is here. Okay, in 6th position is another one from Westman Atelier. This is the Sun Tone Bronzing Creme, and this is in Soleil Parfait number 1. First and foremost, the packaging on this is stunning. Beautiful. Of course, I know Westman Atelier is a very like luxury price point brand, and we do have 2 bronzers in here, and just these are beautiful. And one thing about both of these is one of them does have a little bit more of a reddish undertone, and the other one leans a little bit more of just like a true kind of warm bronzer tone to me. So that particular shade, as you are seeing in the demo, I like to apply that one on the forehead, and the one that has a little bit more reddish undertone to it, I like to apply that one on the cheeks. I just love that look because it looks like a bronzer. I love these red undertone bronzers. I guess I never really thought much about the red undertone bronzers because usually you don't see that shade unless I'm just mistaken. I feel like I just don't see that tone much in like the very light bronzers. I could be wrong because I have just recently become so into cream bronzers. So there could be a bunch of bronzers out there that have reddish undertones for those with really light skin. I could be wrong. But I just feel like I don't see it a lot. Maybe, but I don't know. I feel like I don't see it a lot. But there you can see these 2 right here. And you might can see, I'm hoping it'll pick up on camera, there's a little bit more red undertone in this one versus this one right here. And these are very, very beautiful. The reason this one is in 6th place is not because it is bad by any means. This is a beautiful, beautiful formula. It's stunning. It is pricey. I know Westman Atelier is a very expensive brand. I think this is like $75 if I'm not mistaken. Of course, I know you get 2, so if you divide the cost out, it might be more worth it to you that way. The only reason it's here is because of the texture. This is much more, and I'm hoping I can show you. Maybe you can see it. It's much more of a moussey texture. And while I love that kind of texture in a blush, like think the Sarah Creel blushes, for example, like her blushes are very much that moussey kind of texture. I love that in a blush, but in a bronzer, I don't know. It's just not really my personal favorite. But that being said, this is still a beautiful product. Just because it's in 6th place does not mean it's bad. That's one thing about these bronzers, with the exception of my 10th place. I just feel like the rest of them are all good. It just depends on your preference, your style, the application method and all of that. So this is still beautiful. I still really love this very, very much. It's just if I had to put it here simply because it's more of a mousse-like texture, and I am much more into the really light, balmy bronzers. Now, my 5th place bronzer is from Tower 28. This is their Sculptino in the shade. Now, I used to say this as Broad. It's B-R-O-A-D, but someone commented on my channel one time and said it's actually meant to be pronounced Broad. So, of course, I will have all the names and stuff in the description box for you in case I'm saying any of the names wrong. But that is what this one looks like. In fact, out of all of these, this is the one that I have hit pan on. Of course, this one I have had in my collection for a while. This is one of my top favorites. Really, once we got here in my top 5, all of these were just so close together that it was really hard to rank these. Now, I had a very clear winner. I knew going into this who my number 1 spot and my number 10 spot would be, but positions 2 through 5, they're all so close together that it was really hard to rank them. And it was hard to put this one in 5th place because I do love Tower 28's products so very much. Now, there is that bronzer right there. Now, in comparison to some of these, it has a slight more, I don't know if yellowy is the right word for it, but it does look more yellowy compared to the rest of them. But for me, I love that because I feel like it looks the most natural on me. I don't know, you wouldn't, I guess, I don't know. I've been told multiple things as far as my undertone. The only thing I know for sure is that it's warm undertone. I've been told I have a yellow undertone. I've been told I have an olive undertone. I don't really know. I don't really know. But the yellow, the stuff that leans a bit yellow, I really like because I feel like it does end up looking the most natural on me. So maybe I do have more of a yellow undertone. I'm not exactly sure. But I don't know. There is something about this. Also, it is beautiful in the skin. It just blends out so easily. It's a very thin, balmy texture, like very glowy, very thin. That's the difference between this one and like the Milani. The Milani is very thick formula, very thick, heavy cream bronzer. This one is very lightweight, very airy, which is the type of product that I like, which is the only reason why that Milani was so far down, is because it's just a little bit too thick, a little bit too much for what I like. But this one is just right up my alley. This is a very thin, lightweight balm. It just feels nice on the skin. Feels like you're not even wearing makeup when you have it on. It's beautiful. I have pan in it for a reason. It is a lovely bronzer. I do love this one very, very much. Okay, this next one. Second, third, and fourth place, I really struggled. I really, really struggled. This was so hard for me because all three of these are so beautiful. I love all of them. And I don't want it to say it like, oh, well, that's fourth place, so it's not as good as second or third. No, this is an equally beautiful bronzers. Just know second, third, and fourth, they all could have been tied for second. They're all so good. But I'm going to give it to Makeup by Mario. This is the Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer, and this one's in the shade Light. And I have used this one a ton. I have pretty good dip in there. And it pains me. I don't know. I didn't want to put this one fourth, but I don't know. It was so hard to do second, third, and fourth place. I don't know how people do these ranking videos because I struggle. I couldn't imagine doing one of these for blush. I couldn't imagine, and I can't do it. I couldn't do the blush. No. I love so many blushes, and I hated putting this one fourth for some reason, but here you can see this one right here. It is very similar in tone, if you can see, to the Tower 28 one. They are also very similar in formula-ish. The only thing I will say is I feel like this one from Makeup by Mario, the Skin Enhancer, I feel like it's even thinner than the Tower 28 one. Even thinner and more balmy than that one. And that's why it ranks a little bit higher. I love those thin, balmy bronzers. Now, I know for those of you who have like oily skin, that might not be the best option. I don't know. Can't speak for you, obviously. But for me, I love the glowy stuff. That is my favorite type of makeup. Anything that's glowy and lightweight, that looks very much natural, like your skin's just naturally sun-kissed. I love it. And this one, yeah. This is one of the most beautiful cream bronzers I own, so I hate that I had to put it fourth, but it just come down to just little minor specifics. I don't know. I didn't want to put it fourth, and I'm still undecided if second, third, and fourth, if I made the right choice. So, if I'm going to cheat, I would say they're all tied for second place. Obviously, that doesn't work in a ranking, but I'm just going to tell myself that because they're all good. They're all good. My third place bronzer is this one from Summer Fridays. This is the Bronzer Butter Balm in the shade Sand. And this is a newer bronzer to the market, actually. I feel like it just released in the last like month and a half, maybe by the time this video is going up. I feel like this is a newer bronzer to the market, but it is stunning. Stunning on the skin. It is so beautiful. It is another one of those very, very lightweight, balmy products. It is a little bit thicker than the Makeup by Mario one, but not like obnoxiously thick, if that makes sense. It's still very thin. It blends out easily. That's what I'm looking for. I want easy, everyday makeup. I don't want to fuss with makeup. I'm in my 30s. I don't have time for that. I don't want to fuss with makeup. And I will say that I gave products I feel like when I was in my 20s, I should say more in like the earlier mid 20s, I gave products a little bit more grace and I was willing to put more into making them work. Now I'm thinking, no, if you don't work for me, goodbye. I don't want to deal with that. I don't know. And maybe also because by now I've tried a lot more makeup. So I know what's really good and what I really like versus what I don't like. So here is this Summer Fridays one in comparison to the others. This one has a little bit more, like when I'm looking at it in person, it's almost like there's a very small little dainty touch of red in it. But for the most part, it is just a true warm bronzer. It's not, of course, I think they do call it like a rosy tone, so I guess there would be a touch of red in it. But on me, it doesn't pull too red. I just feel like it's just the perfect bronzer shade, though, in my opinion. It's really beautiful. And you can just kind of see everybody so far. I don't know, I just think that's a beautiful bronzer as well. It was just really hard. These top 5, well, no, I should say 2nd through 5th, more so, were just really hard. I kind of knew who my number 1 was going to be. I already knew. My 2nd place cream bronzer is from Cerakote. This is the Just Like Paradise cream bronzer, and this one is in the shade 1 First. I love this orange compact. It's very, very pretty. This is another thin, balmy, lightweight, glowy bronzer. I have a type. I clearly have a type. I very much have a type. I mean, it's no secret at this point. I like products like this. And I do know that Cerakote is a very luxury price point brand. This is like a $50 bronzer, I want to say, but honestly, it was worth every penny. In my personal opinion, was worth every penny. This is beautiful on the skin. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's another one of those that I don't have to fuss with it. I don't have to fuss with it. It just goes on beautifully and I just call it a day. And that is that bronzer right here compared to the rest of them. I mean, it is just lovely. But you can see all of these are pretty much like on the more glowier-ish side. For the most part, I feel like they're all going to be fairly glowy, but I'm much more of this style versus this. As you can kind of see, all of these are that balmy texture versus the previous ones were like either in the stick format or just not even a bronzer at all, or were more of that moussey texture, whereas I'm much more into the balm-like products. So if you're like me and like more of the balmy bronzers, then my top 5 would probably be something you would like. If you are the opposite of me, then the second half, the last 5, might be more of your preference. It just depends. It depends on you and what you're looking for. I mean, we all have different makeup preferences, different styles, and all of that too, but this from Cerakote, it's so beautiful. It's so, 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 so beautiful. I don't know. I'm so glad that I bought it. I was on the fence initially about purchasing it originally, but I am so glad I purchased it. It is stunning on the skin. Stunning. And my number 1 cream bronzer, and I'm wearing it today, but now I am wearing a very hint of a red blush over the top of this, like the very smallest hint of a red blush. Like I barely tapped into that blush. So I don't know how much of that you're really going to be seeing, but I am wearing my favorite bronzer today. Of course, in the demo, you're going to be seeing it by itself. Let me go ahead and put that demo up right here so you can see the true top favorite out of all these 10 cream bronzers. Ugh, the Refi cream bronzer in the shade Dune. This bronzer had come out of nowhere and just took that top place right away from anything I have. And we have this compact like this, and then here we have the inside. This bronzer, this is not even a new bronzer. This is not new to the market. I believe this bronzer has been around for a while. When I say that I finally picked it up, I think I picked it up was it during the last Sephora sale? I'm not sure if that's when I picked it up or not. Either way, I am so glad that I did. This bronzer is so beautiful, and what I love about this is it has that red undertone, so it looks like a bronzer on my skin tone, and I can wear this one all on its own. I don't even have to wear blush over the top of it if I don't want to. If I just want to throw this on and go out the door, of course, any of these are really beautiful on their own. None of these need a blush over the top in my opinion. At least, especially not my top 5 here. None of them need a blush over the top unless you just want to. They're all beautiful on their own as well. But this just undertone is just perfect for that. I don't know. I just love this all over the skin by itself. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. I don't know how long ago it came out, it released or whatever, but I wish I had tried it sooner. It's just stunning. Something is just so special about this bronzer. And there we have that one right there. You can see it. So here we have all 10 of these individual cream bronzers that I own, and you can just kind of see some tone differences here. Some lean a little bit more red, some lean a little yellow, some lean a little bit more rosy, some maybe kind of right in the middle. You can just see all of the tones swatched out right here. I have just been really loving cream bronzers lately, and I don't know. I thought that it would also be fun to do a ranking video of these just to see exactly who would my top favorites be and who would be the ones that I'm just kind of meh about, that don't really appeal to me the way my top 5 do. That being said, my top 8, I love all of those. 9 and 10 are the ones that I actually think right here with you on camera I'm going to go ahead and declutter. I just feel like these two, they can find a better home with either my mom or one of my friends, because neither one of them are like old. They're still in very good condition. They're not used that much because I just don't really... Okay, now the Milani one I did like. I did. I don't know. It's just because I've tried so many now of these more thin, balmy ones, it's just not my preference anymore. It's a little too thick for what I like. So that's the only reason I'm letting this one go. And the Tower 28 one is just simply not a bronzer. At least not this shade. It's just not a bronzer. It's like a highlighter almost, but it's like a gold bronzy highlighter. I don't know. I'm just not into that. So I think right here with you on camera, these two are leaving my collection. So with that being said, I now have 8 cream bronzer individually. Yes, because I do have 2, well, they're contours in a face palette from MPH, but I didn't want to include that in this video because that's a whole face palette. I just wanted to talk about individual cream bronzers I have, but that MPH face palette, like the underpainting palette, that's beautiful too. That's very beautiful as well. But it's kind of different since it is like an all-in-one palette. But, I mean, you know, so yeah, these bronzers, they're all really pretty, don't get me wrong, but these two are just ones that I'm okay with them leaving my collection. So right here with you on camera, my 9th and 10th place bronzers will be leaving my collection, but the other 8 are absolutely stunning. They're all beautiful. They're all beautiful. And it was definitely hard to rank some of them. It was hard. I don't know how people, I see a lot of people, or in the past, I don't know if it's still common that much now, do these ranking videos, and I don't know how in the world, because I would just be so indecisive on some things. I was so indecisive on this, and I can't even imagine myself with blush. I couldn't do that, and I couldn't do that. And first and foremost, I could not apply every single blush onto my face. That video would probably take me months to film. If I tried to go through and apply every blush on my face, that would take me a long time. So we're not going to do that one. But, you know, I do hope that you enjoyed today's video. I hope that this is maybe helpful for anybody who might have been looking at any of these 10 bronzers and were just curious how they kind of compared in swatches and the way they apply, or just the formulas or anything like that. I do hope the video in some way was helpful for you. And if you did enjoy it, I hope you will please consider leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that bell icon so you are alerted to all my future uploads, and follow me on Instagram at jessicadeerly. All of these products will be listed and linked for you below, as well as in the YouTube shopping tag feature, and if you click through and purchase, I do earn a small commission, and if you choose to do so, thank you so much for supporting me and my channel, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!